Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 22 shows Boruto saving Konohamaru and throwing him and basically telling him get Matsure's Thorn Bulb and get out of here. Run to where you first met the other Sand Shinobi and you'll be able to get away. Simple as that. So that's what Boruto did for Konohamaru. In this moment, Konohamaru is kind of like, oh my gosh, like, he's not fully processing what Boruto's saying. He's kind of just doing what he usually does, which is nothing. So he's just kind of, and Boruto's like, go! He throws him, and then he gets rid of him, and Konohamaru starts running. And I'm starting to think, is this, after this mission, will Konohamaru finally trust Boruto? Will he finally start to look at him as less than a traitor and maybe as something more? Somebody he can depend on, somebody who actually cares about the village and defeating the bad guys and saving the day, you know what I mean? Is he more to Konohamaru now? Especially because he just saved his life, or at least kept the bad guy distracted from killing them both. He saved him from Matsuri, you know? It's debatable whether or not he could have handled her, but what he couldn't have handled was Jura. And at the same time, if Boruto didn't show up, I guess Konohamaru's chances aren't nothing, but at the same time, right, like, who thought Konohamaru was winning that, honestly? After he had the opportunity to defeat her on his own, and he didn't, I think Boruto swooping in at the last second was a good thing, especially for Konohamaru. So, is this going to be the turning point for Konohamaru? Everybody else seems to be on his side. You know what I'm saying? Though, Konohamaru doesn't know that. But you get my point, is that for the time being, Kawaki's joined forces with Boruto, Shikamaru, Mitsuki, Sarada's been screaming in Konohamaru's ear that he's worth trusting, and Sumire as well. So, it kind of all fits that if Konohamaru gets on board, there'll be a really strong team as a whole working together, as opposed to, let's say, like later on down the line, you know what I mean? Like, if we can get that connection started, we'll be able to get everybody on board. Kind of in the same way that, like, Mitsuki got on board pretty quickly, you know? But this moment, him saving him, Boruto swooping in and helping him out, it might be the turning point for him. It might really help him out and make him see that, like, maybe I'm treating this a little too harshly, or maybe I should give him a chance to at least, like, redeem himself or do something better or whatnot. And based on what he said in the interrogation, Naruto isn't dead, neither is Hinata. So it's more so like, how do we get them back? There are still some holes in the story. There's still some things that he's not telling them. Some of the things that, you know, Konohamaru doesn't know or doesn't need to know. He doesn't know about Kashin Koji. He doesn't know about the Shinjutsu to save everybody. He doesn't know any of that stuff. But what he does know is the person that he's, like, calling him a traitor about, or, like, supposedly stating that you killed him, isn't dead. Now, I don't know how much of this information Konohamaru retained or kept in, but what I do know is, since he's kept it in, or he hasn't blabbed about it, or let's say he does hold on to it, you know what I mean? He may not remember omnipotence or whatnot, or he may not know that aspect of it, but he does know that Naruto is safe. So as long as he holds on to that, there might be a chance that Konohamaru might give Boruto, you know, some leniency, finally start trusting him, finally start looking at him as a shinobi worthy of respect, you know what I mean? Not just a traitor anymore. But we'll have to see what happens next chapter, because now he's running away from Boruto. Maybe he'll finally trust him and do what he says, and they gather all together and they figure out to escape, and he'll be concerned about Boruto, like what happens to him and whatnot. So we'll have to see when that happens. But until chapter 23, we're still gonna figure out whether or not Konohamaru is finally getting on board the Boruto train. You know what I mean? The more and more he shows up, the more and more he participates. I feel like he's cracking each one of his friends down. You know what I mean? And Konohamaru is the last one to basically to, like, break through. You know what I mean? Once he breaks through to Konohamaru, Team 10 is going to be easier, and so on and so forth. So if everybody can get on a united front, that'd be the best thing for the story. But until then, until chapter 23, we don't know what's going to happen. But hopefully Konohamaru starts giving Boruto some respect and some very much needed, like, okay, I'll listen to you. We'll work together. You know? But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah,